Hey, we want to share with you guys the story behind the song Your Word. This is a really interesting story to say the least. This song kind of was a train wreck, and it really kind of came together nicely at the end. But there's lots of story that brought us there. Scripturally, what really inspired me to start writing this song was in Ephesians 4. It says this. After just talking about like horrible people and ways that they have just really fallen into all kinds of sin, it says, but that's not the way that you learned Christ. Assuming that you heard about him and were taught in him as the truth is in Jesus. Put off your old self, which belongs to the former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and be renewed by the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new selves created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. That really became the inspiration for the song as really at praying and reading the scripture and looking at myself. I said, the sin that I have in my life is just it's so much. I can't overcome it myself, and just knowing that grace of God is sufficient to remove that, and that His grace not only gives us the forgiveness, but a new life where we're made new. We can put off the old self, and we can put on the new self. And that new self is just where God is redeemed, He's restored, and reading of His Word just continues to sanctify us and set us apart for His work. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind the song. So I had this like acoustic thing going on where,
which is the first time that I heard it. It
Yeah.
was an acoustic song.
Yeah, it just literally just me and acoustic, and that's.
And they were
that's
like,
pretty
"Hey
much
Kyle, come listen to this song. We think we should record this song." So I heard it, and it was acoustic, and we're like, "Well, we want to beef this song up a little bit." So
a lot of it.
Well, it turned out to be a lot of it. So we went in, and we recorded this song in a church that meets in a Rite Aid, and so just kind of a
it was an acoustical masterpiece, really.
acoustical. I think we even did like 3 drum tracks or something like that. We just overdubbed it like a bunch of times, and it kind of turned into something different than what we started with. And at one point, after we had already tracked the drums, Jordan texted me while I was at work one day. He's like, "Hey, can you send me a bunch of like vowel samples? Just record it with your iPhone." So I'm like sitting there at my desk in my office, just going A, E, I, O, U. Just like, I think it was in the key of G or something like that.
C
in the key of C, and I'm just like humming into my phone. We're making this voice memo and texting it over, which actually ended up being the hook for the song, kind of like the vocal samples. And just through a lot of changes, this song became something very different than what it started. And I think we actually ended up tracking bass and then deciding we didn't like the bass and just midied the bass.
I heard "we," and which I really like the "we" part of that story because David is very upset that we removed his bass from the final.
We removed the bass.
It was a "we"
overdubbed it. And
no, we took
basically
we took his bass and said, hey, all the notes are right, but the sound's not. We needed to be fuller and really doing that. So if you listen closely on the second verse and in the bridge, through the instrumental, there's real bass, and that's Dave.
There is still some real bass.
So it was really cool, and I think in this story, I'm very much the Frodo of the story. Where I wrote the song, but then there's like, I think Kyle would be the Sam of the story, where he's really the hero. And if you don't get that reference, just watch Lord of the Rings and realize that Sam's more important. But share the load.
Share the load.
But no, Kyle definitely came in, and we had this just click track basically that said chorus, verse, build, and that's literally all he had.
Time correcting is
it was rough, and he really put a lot of work into it to really craft the song, where we really had no direction musically of what would happen, and Kyle put a lot of work into it to make something that was I think okay to be something that was really great, and probably it was definitely the surprise of the album, where I didn't expect it to go well.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, I mean, we basically took this song from just a bunch of
Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was like we had this song idea over here and the song idea over here and this bridge idea, and we just started meshing them all together. And then that was bad, and then we
we recorded drums, and it was awesome.
Yeah, basically though. No, I mean, it literally was. It was bad every time we added something. We kept adding something, and then eventually we ended up with this really cool moment where we took Kyle's vocal sample and his drum tracks and made this hook that really tied the whole song together. And made it something that was cohesive when really at first it was very much a Frankenstein song. And so we're really excited about the way that turned out. And we just filmed a video of us playing it in our studio, and that link's going to be down in the description. Be sure to check that out. Also know we have a lot more content coming to you. We're really excited about what the Lord is doing through us and just our friends, our church, and all that stuff. And we want to be able to share that with you. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hope to see you back.
Peace.